Hi everyone, DJ CDC here. Now I wasn't really expecting to do this. I don't generally do an unboxing video. It's just I happen to, unfortunately, you will notice a space missing on my desk. My Mackie Big Knob audio interface blew up on me, died, whatever's wrong with it. Luckily it's under warranty and it's been sent off. I'm just waiting for it fixed, returned. In the meantime, I need a sound card. I'm in the middle of some projects that I wanted to working on. But other than that, I thought, you know what, it's time I got a new sound card. So yeah, I went out and I actually, before what I'm about to show you, I went and purchased M Audio 192 Air, and I found it rubbish. The minute I unboxed it and set it up, I realised that it didn't do what I wanted it to do. I run two sets of monitors. I'm in a small room. I have one set that I calibrate and that I use, which is my iLoud MTM speaker. And I also have my Yami HS7s that I know this room's too small for. And actually, when I'm not writing music and mastering and working on, it sounds really, really nice with both of them on. And that's, I know it causes phase problems. It's not for me to monitor while I'm mixing and mastering. It's purely to enjoy the music. Both of them playing with the extra treble that you get out of the Yamis. What I also liked about the Big Knob is the dim function. None of these features are on the M Audio, which I was quite surprised. It did have mono, and the worst thing was it had the two outputs. I thought, great, I plugged in, you know, I've got my jacks for my speakers ready, and I plugged in my Yamis into what's their 3/4 output, and it just came out full volume, and my ears were ringing for a day. It really, really hurt. What a nightmare. It turns out there is no functionality on the device to control the volume for out 3 and 4. You can't even have them selected at the same time. There's no functionality on the actual device. You have to go into the Windows drop down and select in the audio what you want it to play out of. Either 1/2, your main monitor speakers, and then 3/4, and then the volume's controlled within Windows, nothing to do with the device. I mean, what a nightmare. So there's no trim functionality, let alone the volume. The volume knob doesn't work on that port, even when you've selected it within Windows, the knob does nothing then. A nightmare. And then I opened up my door, my main one, which is Persona Studio One. So it saw it, it recognized that the M Audio Air was there, but when I selected it, it just kept crashing. Following that, I posted the fact that mine had blown up and had asked for advice for some friends on Facebook, and Ron Wells replied. He recommended the Motu 4. He's heralded as one of the pioneers. He's an absolute legend. And woe forbid for me to go against his advice, but I'm going to tell you now, I'm sure you've seen by the description that this is not a review of the Moto M4. One of the reasons being, I went and read some reviews, some research on these. One of the things that I read was that you'll see I'm using these headphones because at the moment all I've got is the onboard sound on the back of the computer. I mean, I don't really need these on. I was just using them to check the video before I started my actual recording. So yeah, I read that they didn't power these headphones very well, being 250 ohm. I've just got the Behringer Dynamic DT 990s Pros, and you know, I'm really enjoying these. But I've read that it didn't power it very well, people complaining. And one of the other things I noticed, exactly the same as on the M Audio, that the Motu 3/4, which is its second output, doesn't have its own volume controller. You can't control it. The knob does nothing. Yes, I know, recommended by Ron Wells. I know it's 32-bit. I know it heralded as having one of the best DACs in the devices at the moment for that entry. But it didn't meet the form factor and provide some of the functionality that I want, which is to be able to power more than one set of monitors. And at the same time, or A/B them, I want a quick dim switch. I want to be able to quickly mono. I want to be able to have the facility to be able to also have other inputs like my DJ equipment and what have you really easily through the line inputs. And the one that I found, without me going and spending another £270 on buying another Mackie. So yes, lo and behold, I've gone, contrary to probably a lot of people's advice, and got, just take my headphones off, I don't need them, is the Behringer Studio XL. It says it's a high-end studio control and communication centre. And yes, I've read all the reviews, as everyone. It's basically a copy of the Mackie. Everyone knows this. It's been blatantly obvious. It's reported on such. But what I found really interesting and really strange, and which is why I'm doing this video, is because when I went to view, find out about these, get some reviews, some unboxing, some tests, some versus, you know, this one versus what have you, what's it stand up to, the Mackie and what have you. I couldn't find a thing. There is one other video with a similar ilk as this, where someone has just got one and gone through and done some of the features. Now, some of them I'm not going to cover, and you can go and look up their video. He's the only one. If you found mine, you probably found their video first. Regarding this, I'm not going to do the talkback and that. I don't have that function. I don't use it. What I am interested in is the ability to trim multiple monitor speakers. I like the fact that you've got the jack inputs and you can cue up the headphone and what have you. I just like the form factor of this device. What really stands out, and I'm really keen to see, is this volume control. It's supposed to have a VCA stereo tracking, which is the voltage control amplitude, I believe, to do with the fact that it's rather than a potentiometer that gives you crackles, and it is very accurate. There's supposed to be the volume control in here that gives you far more accuracy. One thing that it stands out again over the Mackie is the fact that it actually has a scale numbered on there. The one thing I hated about the Mackie is not having any notches, any numbers, anything on the big knob. So although you've got this big knob and the little dot on the top, there's no way of you remembering or seeing where have you actually got it on the actual scale of the volume control. Now I have a little on my big knob, a piece of masking tape where I've marked a little line, and I match up the dot on the top of the dial with that, because that's where I like that volume. That's where I find it comfortable for my room, and you know, sounds the best for me. It's not too loud, it's loud enough for my so yeah, I really liked seeing that they picked up on the fact that that is a downside with the big knob, not knowing whereabouts you've actually got your volume with it. And this has a scale on it that you go, all right, yeah, my favourite's 35 or what have you. So enough waffling, let's actually see what it's like, what's inside, and what it sounds like. Not that you will be able to hear properly. I'm not going to set it up and SonarWorks it or anything. But yes, so we've got, it looks like your standard USB cable, and it looks like a good size. That's another thing with the audio. The cable was ridiculous. It was about this length. Now, I want my desktop studio audio interface monitor control thing on my desktop. And, you know, my computer's down here under my desk. There's no way a lead that long is going to work. I had to put it into a USB extender, and yes, I did test, you know, with the driver issues and everything else, which is another problem with the M Audio. All the reviews saying about bad drivers, and even M Audio deliberately breaking drivers, which I don't know why they do that. I know they want to sell you new gear, but they're selling it as new to me. Why would they break something that I've just bought? I've just send it back as broken. Ridiculous. But that's what people are saying. You know, they want to get rid of it, so they break the driver, so you buy new stuff. So anyway, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But this looks like a pretty decent length cord, which again the Mackie had as well. I'm not going to diss the Mackie. That had enough decent cord. Going in here is the power pack. Again, I like the fact, the other thing that did put me off on the Mode 2 is the fact that it is powered through the USB. And I maxed out on, I don't know how many hard drives. And I just like having my audio interface powered separately. Yes, it's handy if you're just out with your laptop, but yeah, if you can find a power socket for your laptop, you should be able to find a power socket for your audio device. Not that I go anywhere with it. Oh, it looks like a line jack, 3.5mm. And right, what's left to tax. Okay, so we've got our manual user's guide, protective foam packaging. Okay. There is a gel pack in there, good. Doesn't look like someone has had this before and opened it. Because I think the bag is torn like that, like I just did, so. Anyway, to get it out. Yeah, UK plug, good. Now also, I know people say, oh, Behringer. Let's put that down. I have had Behringer stuff, and I sent it back. My decks, when I used to DJ with CDs, I got some Gemini 2000 CD XMs still in the loft, and I did buy a Behringer at the time. Behringer was a good make for mixers. I bought one, and channel bleed was terrible. Turn the fader all the way to the other side, the volume down, and you could still hear in the background some of the audio. Had a really bad bleed, and I sent it off, and they sent me another one and had the same problem. And in the end, I went and got I think it was a Citronic CDM 2410 or whatever it was. But yeah, I got one of that, and I'd already had one of them with my previous decks, and I liked the mixer. It's never let me down, so I got another one of them, and then, yeah, that's been working great. So that was my only experience with Behringer, which did put a sour taste. But when I looked into this, one thing that was interesting about this is apparently it's got Midas preamps in it, and allegedly Midas is well known for being exceptionally good quality in the microphone industry and in the music industry. And I've heard that Behringer have gone around recently buying a lot of good companies that are well respected within the music industry. I assume trying to absorb their technology, and part of that is the Midas preamps that are supposedly on these inputs. At first glance, I'd like to say, yeah, it's a similar size to the Mackie. Again, similar weight. The Mackie's quite heavy. It's got the jack that I like to be able to run. Let me just show you there, the 3.5 standard jack. So when I've got to my new Mark digital DJ decks that I'm using, that's the port that it goes in with the phonos that come out the back, the RCAs that come out the back mixing deck, so that's really handy because I use that. It's got the 3 outputs. I did go with the XL. They do an L version where I believe it only supports 2 sets of monitors, not 3. Very springy sound. Pick that up. Put it up to the quite clunky on the old buttons there. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad quality. They come off easy. That one does. Yeah, look, straight off. This aren't pulling off so easy. I've just got one dodgy one. Just seems to want to come off. Others seem to be stuck on pretty well. Okay, so wobble on that pot. Especially that input one there. There is a, not only you can feel a center. Right now, inputs cues. So it is £70 cheaper than the Mackie Big Knob, and I would say that build quality wise, the Mackie is better. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I do like that. There's a little, for each step you can feel it vibrate, a little notch feeling. So the volume control, that is nice. The other one has no feeling of you going up any scale, no notching. no vibrating resistance or anything on the Mackie. It twiddles. It's really easy to accidentally knock it. As I say, and there's no identification as to where you are, where you've put it. So, yeah, I would say I'm not that impressed with these knobs. They feel a bit flimsy. That one wobbles like mad, and that one comes off. So, but it is £70 cheaper than the Mackie. Maybe there's a reason for that. But it is supposed to have 192, 24 bits, and the new technology in there, making it a competitor. What it does do is it gives me out function I like. So let's disappear. I would say the line in cable is very short. Yeah, sure. I guess for plugging your iPhone or whatever if you wanted. Okay. Just pass this down the Mac. Obviously on the back it's very similar, all the inputs. Ones I'm interested in, let me just get that in. It is good again, it has USB. It is good that it has the on-off switch for the power. And I have heard someone say that it gives the spike, so does the Mackie. When you turn the power off, you must have turned your speakers off first, but anyone should know whenever you're turning systems on, hi-fi stereos and what have you, you turn your amp on last and off first. So because the amps are in your speakers, you turn them off first and then you turn off your audio interface. But yeah, been to a house party when someone blew up some speakers and an amp by turning on the record, by turning on the tape deck while it was all plugged in, before turning the amp off first before you turn power something else on, and it spiked it. Right, I'm not sure which one of these cables. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the USB cable in first. I'll be getting my Mackie Big Knob back, and if this doesn't sound good, then this will be going back, and then I'll be back to the drawing board. And what one I want to get is just, I love the form factor. Yeah, it must admit, like pushing that in, it feels a little flimsy. Sturdiness doesn't seem quite there compared to the Mackie in many respects. Enough. Right, I'm just going to disappear under the table for a minute while I plug it all in. Okay, so I'm going to plug in. Got monitors A, what's 4, and speakers are as even at the moment. There we go, move the keyboard away. This is the box. Line in jack. Right. Fingers are off. Right. Device is powered on. What I'll now do is also set up. That felt okay, yeah. Alright. Assume here it will tell me let's go get the driver for it, because it doesn't seem to give you discs anymore. Software. Yeah, you are. There we we go. Go to Behringer.com to get the latest studio series. Hi guys, yeah, little bit of faffing around. I originally installed the drivers, or the ones I thought were, which were 512, I believe, and it wasn't quite working, and there was an exclamation mark in my devices and what have you. And I went back to the site and found somewhere else there was a 530 version. Installed that, and now, yep, it sees the device properly. There's all the channels for me to be able to select for recording, for the input, so I can record what's coming out. So just a quick little test now to see what it's like. I like the fact you've got the old dim and they light up, and then can you see there, they light up orange when they're active and green along the top here. I believe the buttons glowed on the Mackie to show that they were active, whereas these have illuminations around them. So what I'm going to do now is I've plugged my speakers in. So yeah, you're not really going to be able to hear anything. This isn't an audio test. I'm just going to play something that I really like. Remember to select that you want to hear the audio from the USB. You need to make sure the USB is lit up. You don't want to hear it through the headphones. You need to use the EQ. What are we on? 25? Where are we on? The volume's nearly full. We're coming through now. So, well, there we go. Once we've got up to 35. Quite like that. Get on dim. It does dim it down quite a lot. Let me switch over speakers. And then with yammies you can hear how much, well, hopefully you can pick up how much treblier they are, airier they are. And then switching back. Much more bass you get out the MTMs. Because they've been triangulated and calibrated with the microphone. Now I can hear a crackling. Now, is it in the track or is it the device? You can hear a complete difference in the speaker. Which is why I like putting them together. That sounds awesome to listen to. Both of them. You get the bass and the focus and articulation out of the MTMs, but then just all that heart, beautiful highs and trebles surrounding it with the ammies. That's why I just love having it.
A subtle wind, familiar smile, a certain scent controls the air.
And putting it on dim enables me to turn it up. It's so nice to be able to have it on dim, turn it up a bit, and then with my son in bed, I'm able to listen to my mates DJing and that, or to work on music and not have it in the headphones. But yeah, I really like that. I like the clarity of that sound that I'm getting out of this. I do like it. What I'm going to do now is just go over to me headphones. You should hear a little bit being open backed, but Yeah, because I haven't got the cue set up, so I should be able to just do the volume and I can hear it coming through. So, cue to stop it with the volume on, or obviously cut down. Wow, that's loud already. I've hardly moved that up at all. What I'm going to do is now, what I haven't done yet and check is whether or not it's picked up in my DAW. Also what I've noticed is the software that comes with it is now working the Studio Series control panel, which is very much like the Mackie. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed on the quality of these knobs. Very fluid. They're quite chunky. It's nice to have a complete mute button. Cut all sound off as well as dim, and it has the mono. They are a bit clunky, I noticed. Something else said about that, very mechanically ping, ping, ping. I think overall, Mackie feels better quality. Now that's quite interesting. It sounds quite trebly. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I'm going to play some other tracks that I'm not going to record while I'm doing it because I'm not trying to do a sound quality test on these. It's really what do I think, having had them Big Knob and wanting something that gave me the similar functionality because I like the ability to do what I can do using these types of devices. And this is the only other one I found other than the Big Knob. Yes, so either this is highlighting some treble issues in the track that I'm working on, or this doesn't have as good as sound output. I can't say until I do some other testing or listen to some other tunes that I know that sound good. And then I'll be able to compare and I'll finish off and do a wrap up as to what I feel about this. Until I work all that out. Hope this helped. But yeah, they say it's a competitor against the Mackie. Build wise, I'm not so sure. I think the Mackie's built better. Sound wise, I don't know. The dial thing, yes. I'm going to do a bit more testing and see, and then I'll come back and do a final conclusion and whether or not I send it back, get something else. Might send it back and get the Mo 2, might get the Mo 2 as well, might get something different. But yeah, at the moment, we shall see. We shall see. Okay, guys, how you doing? CDC here. Right, the Behringer. I told you that I would add to the end of my unboxing video an update because I didn't think it was fair. You can't tell. I've not got any SonarWorks or calibration software to be able to set my room up in a way that I would then be able to record the sound and give you a comparison. This isn't what I'm doing. It's just my opinion at the end of the day. My ears are going to be different to everyone else's. How I like hearing sound is going to be different to probably how you like hearing sound. I can only give you an overall how I've got on with this device and what I think of it, especially compared to the Mackie. As I said, my Mackie blew up. It's being repaired under warranty, so thank you very much, Music Matters. I really appreciate the service and the warranty that you gave on that. Excellent service. Thank you very much. This device, as I said, the quality of the build, I mean, these knobs not just fall off and they wobble like, ugh. They really are not very nice. The springiness in the buttons, I mean, okay, it lights up red, orange, green, very nice, around them, but you just, everything, look, they wobble and rattle and it's just not built very nice at all. The one thing I do like, and I will say, is this volume control. First of all, it's marked round it. The Mackie doesn't have any numbering, any notches, any dots or any markings that tell you where you've got your dial. I have to stick a bit of masking tape with a line where I prefer to have it for my volume to make sure I'll try and have it in the same place all the time. Having said that though, I've been mastering a new single. It's about to come out and I thought to give this device its fair go, you need to work with it. It's no good going having a listen to one of your tunes going, oh, I don't like that, or because sometimes the sound it's just different. Each device, each speaker is slightly different, and if you've got used to a certain way of hearing something, when it's different, you go, oh, that doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's wrong, and it might actually be an improvement on what you're really hearing compared to what you're used to. It's just because it's different and it's not the normal way you hear things, you instantly go, ooh. I found this when I've done some mastering for a couple of people on their tracks. When they first hear it, they go, ooh, because they hear things that they never heard before in the track. They hear it produced in a way that they didn't produce it. And you instantly have this, ooh, because it's different. So I thought, I don't want to have that gut feeling. When I plugged it in, I was sort of like, oof, I'm not sure about this. So I worked with it. I mastered a couple of tracks. And wow, I can't believe the quality of the mastering I've achieved using this device. The translation when I take it to the car or play it on the stereo and even the wife's crappy hi-fi system, it translates, it sounds good no matter where I take it. The clarity I was getting out my tracks, it's just, yeah, I cannot fault this. I am going to use this over the Mackie. When I'm mastering and when I'm finalizing tunes, this is the device I'm going to use. Build quality, yeah, it pretty much sucks, as you can see. I mean, as someone else, if you see any of the other reviews that are out there, it's susceptible to finger marks. The minute you touch it, you got sweaty, greasy marks all over it, it looks like. The other thing, even things like you move it on your desk and look, can you see? These rubber things just leave marks the minute you move the thing. Look, there you go, I just drew circles on my desk. You know, it's just you don't want that out of a device. Just everything about this device in terms of build quality, just no. You know, they need to improve this dramatically if they really are going to take on the Mackie, because the Mackie's build quality is far superior to this thing. But having said that, I cannot fault the sound quality. The one caveat I will say, and I do think, is I don't think that the headphone amp that's in there is particularly good. It's slightly harsh, and with my DT990s, I find they're pretty bright as well. That yeah, it's fine if I want to sit here and I want to work on something. My son's in bed. Obviously, I can't have it blaring out my monitors, so I am able to use, and I do like my biodynamic DT990s. I like the soundstage I get, and it's improved my ability to work on tunes while my son's asleep without annoying people. But I still, and I believe it's because of the headphone jack and whatever amp is in the headphone part of this isn't quite right. It makes it quite harsh. Sounds not quite right up on the high end. Yeah, there was something I didn't like when I listened to my track that I've mastered, but it was only when I listened through the headphones last night. When I play it out my monitors, when I play it in the car, when I play it on my party speakers, when I play it on the wife's stereo, it sounds fantastic, and I love this. Now, whether that's to do with, from what I understand, is Behringer bought Midas. There are Midas preamps. Now, I don't know whether those preamps are only in the inputs for the microphones, or what other technology in here they've acquired and they've put in here for the overall sound, and the DAC, the digital audio converter that's in here. I know Ron Wells suggested the Motu M4. The Motu M4 has a top quality professional DAC in there. And apparently you would need to spend thousands to get the same quality DAC that you would in another device. So that I understand, and because of that, you know, I ain't going to say Ron Wells don't know what he's talking about. I'm not going against what he says, because he's Jack Smooth. We all know what a fantastic producer he is, and how much he's given to the scene. So yeah, I went and actually bought a Motu M4 just before Easter. I bought this and I thought, well, you get 30 days. I wasn't sure when I unpacked it. I thought, I'm going to compare it. Why don't I get, as you know, I bought the M Audio Air 192, and it was rubbish, and I sent it back. So I got this, and then I thought, oh, do you know what? I want to do a comparison. You get 30 days. I'll buy the O2M4. I'll get that. I'll listen to both, and the one that I prefer, I'll just send the other one back. But we had a problem, and the DPD, because I bought it and it was supposed to come on the Thursday just before Easter, they didn't deliver. And then I get a notification that they can't deliver until the Saturday. Well, I wasn't going to be here over that weekend. We were going away for Easter. And it's like, so in the end, I just had to cancel the order. And I thought, you know what, after the Easter, I'll probably get another one. I'll worry about it then. But in the meantime, as I say, I thought I'll give this a go. I had this single that I was working on that I needed to finish because the project was coming up and I wanted to get some promos ready. And yeah, I like this so much, I'm not going to get the motor. What's the point? At the end of the day, Ron will be the first to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Find what you like the sound of. Find what works for you and then go with it. Work with it. Use it. It's not a matter of, you've got a Behringer, you've got this. No. Yes, there are certain manufacturers and respected audio companies, hardware that's out there, and the Moto M4 has a lot of rave reviews. And it has class leading technology and digital audio conversion components and what have you in there. The one thing I would say that I did read, again, which was a problem with the M Audio, apparently it only has 2 outputs. This has 3, but it doesn't have a volume control, and you don't get like you hear a trim for A, B, and C monitors. So I can run my 2 monitors, which it sounds fantastic. Yeah, when I get my my Yami HS7s running with my iLoud and I get the trim on these set correctly, oh wow, it sounds amazing. I love it. I really like it. Obviously, it's no good for sound staging and for mastering and that, because I can't fully triangulate properly between 2 sets of monitors. But just to sit and listen to music when I'm not working on music it just sounds so nice. I really, really like this. And that surprised me because, as you probably know, the HS7s, the Yamis can be classed as a little high, a little trebly. And with this, I thought, it sounded a little high, a little trebly, but it's not. It was clarity that it was giving me. And once I was working with it, produced my CD, I've fallen in love with the sound this is giving me. I really like it. I'm going to keep it. And when my Mackie comes back, because a Windows update's now stopped my old DAW from working, which is a nightmare because I've got a lot of old tunes that I never really properly mastered and finished that I wanted to. And I can't because my DAW won't open to export the stems. So I'm going to run Windows 7 in a VM, and I'm going to use the Mackie as my audio interface for that virtual environment, and I'll have this as my mastering and main PC audio device, and I'll use the Mackie for that. And as well, if I'm going out, if I'm DJing anywhere, if we're doing parties and whatever, phenomenal. We've got 2 audio devices that we could chain together, and we could end up with like 6 monitor outputs, all with their own volume controls, all powered through this device. And the Mackie would be fantastic. We could have some really good parties using the 2 devices. So that is what I like. I've not used the microphone input. I'm still using my rubbish Yeti Blue thing. I know everyone hates it and it gets all the bad reviews, but hey, I've got one, so that's what I use. When I do a mix, I will use I've got a really crappy 20 quid rock, whatever, a star, karaoke wireless thing that I use, just so I can pick the mic up and talk to it if I want to. That's USB, so it's no good using it in this type of equipment. I might do whenever I do a mix again, and we'll see what the preamp's like using a really crappy mic, because that'll be interesting to see whether or not it improves. But yeah, I like this. I can't fault it. I'm going to keep it, and I'm not going to bother getting the Moto M4, because at the end of the day, as I say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you like the sound of your equipment, and if your results are translating when you've done your mixing and your mastering, and you go and burn it to CD and you take it to your car and you play it on your crappy stereo and it sounds good and you like the sound that you're producing, then don't change a thing. You'd be stupid to go and change anything if you've got something that seems to be working for you. Now, obviously, some people might say that, they think it's crap what I'm producing. At the end of the day, there's no account for taste. All our ears are different. It's only my opinion. It's only how I hear sound and how I like hearing sound, and I like the sound that comes out of it. That's all I can say. But yeah, I would suggest for anyone out there that's interested in this type of form factor that gives you a decent set of inputs, auxiliary inputs, 2 headphones, and all with trim. Forget about the studio talkback and all that. I mean, I'm not in a proper studio. I don't have singers and separate booths and stuff. I don't have that functionality. The dim is fantastic. You've even got the mute. The mono obviously is really handy as well. That's come in really handy for me. It's the same on the Mackie. The interface is a clone of the Mackie, as we know. The trims and the 3 monitor ability to select between them all at the same time, one or the other type thing, that's fantastic. And from what I can see, no other audio interface apart from the Mackie and this one gives you that type of form factor and features on the interface. This is, I think it's £70 cheaper than the Mackie, so I would say give it a go. Give it a go. Yes, build quality, knobs, things, I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope it's going to last. If it doesn't, I'm sure I'll send it back under warranty. But in terms of the sound that I'm hearing that comes out of this and the ability for me to improve on my mixing and mastering, yeah, can't knock it. Really like it. Try it. You never know. And you're going to save some money, because if you buy this and you really like the sound that's coming out of it, you're going to save some money over the Mackie, and you're going to get all these features that no other audio interface provides, especially in this price range. I mean, my ideal and the one that I would like to try, but I can't afford, is the SPL Crimson 3. Especially I'd like to get the white one, but they're £600 odd, and I just don't have that sort of money to spend on an audio interface. And who knows, I might not even like the sound of it. But also there, I think they've only got 2 outputs, and I don't know whether the volume control works on the second output. I need to do more investigation on that. But yeah, this is the problem I have. I like running multiple monitors. I also want to use it for when I'm out and about, DJing or having house parties, and being able to power multiple speakers out of the one device is just really handy. It's a great feature. For general use, it's just great. In small studios like me, where you've got a couple of monitors that you want to switch between, so you can A/B comparison test as well as power for house parties and what have you. Yeah, you can't knock these interfaces. They give you so much that no other interface does. And as I say, so far I prefer the sound for mixing and mastering that I'm getting out of the Behringer over the Mackie. Now don't forget, the Mackie blew up, and when I bought my Mackie, I got it for £100 cheaper because it was ex-demo. So who knows, maybe there was something already not right with it. Maybe that's why it's ex-demo, something sort of stopped sounding correct, and so they sold it cheap. I don't know, because I never had one before. I don't know what the Mackie should have sounded like. All I know is, to me, listening to this now, I think the Mackie colours bass, and it made it very difficult. I wasn't getting the translation. I was struggling to get the sound to translate when I was taking it elsewhere. So it might have sounded good here through my studio monitors with the Mackie, and then I go into the car and it just wasn't quite right. And I go elsewhere and it just wasn't quite right. And I've done the same like I normally would. I've mastered down. The clarity I seem to have got out of one of my tracks is just, I've never got that sort of clarity before. And when I've gone and played it in other devices, it's translated really well as well. So yeah, that's my 2 pence worth. Whether or not you agree, I can't really give you a sound. I might see if I can dig out where I've got to mastering with the Mackie compared to this, but I don't know if it's a fair comparison. I'd really need to get the tune to where I think it's right using this, and then play it back through the Mackie and record it and see the sound. And I don't have the setup. I don't have the microphones. I don't have the SonarWorks calibrate the environment and stuff like that. I use, when I'm mastering, my iLoud MTMs. They have a microphone specific for calibrating these speakers when you triangulate yourself to because I'm in a bass hole of a room for my studio. It does help calibrate, so the bass, it doesn't bounce off the walls and you can't hear really what's going on. So yeah, nothing more to say. Just try it, because you might like it. I do. I really like it. And as I say, I'm not going to bother getting the Motu now. I did buy one. I was going to compare with them. I had all these problems where it didn't turn up and DPD messed up over Easter, and I wasn't going to get it for over a week. And I thought, I'll just cancel that order, because I'm not going to be here when they want to deliver it. I'll see how I feel after Easter. I've worked with this, and I don't see the point in now changing it, because it would just be for the sake of it now, and because I'm happy with what I'm getting out of this. I might as well stick with it, run with it, and you know, who knows? Maybe down the road I might decide, all right, you know, I want to try it, that interface now. So I do appreciate your input, Ron, and it's not that I don't agree with you or that I just ignored you. I bought this before you'd actually given me the advice. I then went and bought the Moto M4. I had all these problems getting it delivered. And in the meantime, working with this, I like what I've produced out of it, and so I'm just going to run with it. So, yeah, there you go. That's my unboxing and final verdict on the Behringer. This is the Studio XL, which is basically the exact same interface, features, what have you, as the Mackie Big Knob Studio Plus, I think it's called. So there you go, guys. I hope it's helpful, and I hope you like the music that I'm going to start producing using my Behringer. Bye.